Hello, hello. This is PamelaTopjian, and today I'm going to talk about happiness. So, what makes us truly happy? Let's talk about it. So, happiness and contentment. Was there a difference? Do you feel really content in your life? Meaning, like, all's well, a feeling of this is a good life, or truly happy? Like, what makes us happy? Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So one thing that I don't think the association is made that often is self-care being a huge part of being happy. So improving our overall happiness with what we eat and what we drink and what we put into our bodies and moving our bodies, how we speak to ourselves, all those things. So we know that when somebody is feeling low and feeling depressed, they can't get out of bed, or they're not eating, they forget to eat, or they're overeating, or eating a lot of junk because they don't really care. They're not really giving it any thought. So the opposite is true as well. If you have eaten really good that week, you feel good about yourself, right? That helps to bring up your confidence and your happiness level, right? So the same thing if you get a good night's sleep, you know, um, if you've exercised, if you've done well with whether you have exercise goals and you're hitting the gym, or whether you are tracking how many steps you're taking, or whatever it is for you, you feel better and it adds to your overall happiness if you have done those things, if you were able to do those things. So that's sort of the opposite of when you're depressed, like you can't even get out of bed sometimes, and that basic self-care can be really difficult. So that basic self-care also leads to more happiness in our lives. And I don't think that's talked about enough. So when you are taking care of yourself, that basic self-care, and you feel good about it, and you know you've done well for yourself, and it makes you happy and content in your life, then that all adds up. That builds up that momentum. Instead of rolling down a hill into darkness and depression, it's lifting you up, right? So that's a big part of it. I think self-care leads to your overall happiness and contentment in your life. Sometimes people think, this person made me happy. Oh, he makes me so happy, or she makes me so happy. When we put that responsibility on somebody else. And I don't think that that's fair to the other person. And it's really, you're the only one that can make you happy. Another important part of happiness is balance. We've all heard of work-life balance, but also your home life, your finances. If you have a spiritual connection, whether it's through religion or something more personal, or just alignment with something bigger than yourself, um, that can be deeply grounding and even comforting for some. And that will help in your overall happiness, that having that balance with all aspects of your life. So something that you can do to help yourself if you're having a genuinely good day and you're happy all day, or there was even a moment in your day that you felt really happy, when you're having those moments, stop and reflect on it a little bit and think, why am I happy today? What happened today? Or what was I doing when I realized that I was feeling happy? And what are those signs? Was it me laughing? Was I spending time with friends, with loved ones? Was I doing something? Was I exercising? Was I meditating? Was I gardening? Was I painting? Was I doing something that I love? What was I doing that made me feel like I was having a good day and I had a happy day? So be aware of those things, and then of course do more of those. Talking about people who say, oh, he makes me so happy, or she makes me so happy. Like I said, that happiness comes from within. It's your own self that can make you quote unquote happy. But that being said, connection really matters. Relationships, friendships, community. And these are all really essential to our balance in our life, but our overall happiness as well. So there's a famous Harvard study that has tracked people over many decades, and they found that the quality of your friendships, not the number of friends, but the quality of your connection with your friends is a big predictor of long-term happiness. So having that real connection, laughing together, being vulnerable together, feeling free to be fully yourself, and feeling free to be vulnerable in front of somebody or with somebody, feeling that you're seen and that you're heard and you're understood. That's really where the magic happens in relationships. And relationships meaning friendships, could be romantic relationships as well, or partnerships, but your true friendships, that's where that magic happens. We can be in a crowd or be even with friends and family around and still feel unseen, unheard, or misunderstood or lonely. So Gandhi once said, happiness is when what you think and what you say and what you do are in harmony. That speaks to being authentic, feeling free to be fully yourself. So that's happiness comes from that as well. I don't think you can be truly happy in your life if you are feeling like you're on pins and needles or you're on eggshells, whether it's how you are behaving, what you're doing or what you're saying. So being free to be fully yourself helps to foster happiness in your life. You don't have to be perfect to feel happy. You just have to be real. Just be that real, fully authentic self. So one thing that people will say, nobody can be happy all the time, but just to have that contentment in your life that I was speaking about in the beginning, to have that simple life is good feeling, right? Life is not going to be perfect. Things will happen. Unfortunately, sometimes, bad, quote unquote, or unfortunate things still happen, even when you're doing all the right things to help foster happiness in your life. Unpredictable things happen. Things that might seem unfair happen. We don't have control over other people. So things will happen with others, whether it's at work or in your relationships or even just out in public. Things will happen that can make you feel unhappy or sad. You don't have control of those things, but you do have control over how you cope or handle the situation. So whatever it is, take a step back and figure out what that was there to teach you, what you have learned from it, but also, how am I going to handle this that's going to not add to that situation, but to help you. It's not healthy to ignore those feelings or to try to get rid of any sadness, but expressing your feelings and knowing that you have somebody safe in your life to do that with, right? Whether it's friends, your romantic relationship, your partnership, having somebody, and therapy or counseling or a coach, having somebody that you can fully express whatever's happening in your life and be fully authentic with how you're feeling. And then, you want to think about how you can better handle situations as they come up. What's more productive rather than staying stuck in those negative feelings or ruminating over those feelings. So we've heard quotes that say, thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. And that's a quote by Buddha. And another one is, happiness is like a kiss. You must share it to enjoy it. And that's Bernard Meltzer. So another one with a candle is, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. And that is said to be by James Keller. So it's very much like the more you share your happiness, the more you're authentic with others, it comes back to you. When you're lighting up others, you're also lighting up yourself. We are all connected. If you can share something fun or funny or share of yourself in an authentic way, that's going to help in your overall connections and relationships and your happiness. So another study has shown, speaking of laughter, another study has shown that laughter can be like a meditation because you cannot ruminate or think about other things while you're laughing. You can't be ruminating about something that's upset you when you're laughing and having a good time. So even finding something to laugh about Do you have a favorite comedian? Or, looking on YouTube for a new comedian. YouTube or Netflix has a ton of comedians on there. Find one that you like. And if you watch 10 minutes or so and you haven't laughed yet, and it's a new comedian, you don't have to finish watching it. Go on to another one. But if you don't have a favorite comedian, or you can't find any video on your favorite comedian, then, look for others. There's probably another one that you might like as well. So hopefully you've gained something from this video. Please share it out with someone in your life who seems to be stuck in that state of unhappiness. There's probably someone that you can think of right now that just never seems happy, might need more laughter in their life. And then that's also making that connection. Hey, I'm thinking about you. I feel like this might be helpful for you. So yeah, so keep sharing. Let's keep growing and keep learning together. And let me know, what's a small thing that you can do today that helps you to live a little happier in your life. Let me know in the comments. And if you have any other topics for me to discuss, please let me know that too. Thanks so much for being here. As always, thank you for sharing in this time and in this space with me. Have a wonderful day and remember to laugh.